Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Ghost Hunting Beauties podcast. And today we've got a very special guest with us, Lee Kirkland. So if you want to stick around, don't go anywhere. It's going to get really spooky and interesting. All right, everybody, welcome back. We've got Lee Kirkland, paranormal investigator out of Kentucky. He is as country as can be, so we love him.
Hi.
Hello, Lee. Welcome.
Hey
Howdy from
guys, what's happening?
Hi.
We're so excited to have you on here.
I'm excited to be
you're-
here.
I'm telling you, she told me you were coming on. And I was like, you're kidding, right? I was like, yes. I was like, so
I appreciate
excited.
you having me.
Oh, thank you. Have you seen the show so far?
I got to catch out just a little bit of the first episode. Itzy sent it to me, but I'm just so busy. I mean, it's hard for me to catch and sit for an hour at least.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So what got you into the paranormal? Everybody usually has their intro story. So what got you interested in all of this?
Early on, I grew up in just an extremely haunted house, and they actually did a show about my childhood home and story on
Whoa.
it was on the Travel Channel called Hometown Horror.
Oh.
And so it kind of talks about my childhood and how I grew up and what got me into all the paranormal stuff. But the paranormal led into events, and then events led into event management. Event management led into the paranormal tour I do with Nick Groff, and then that led into the creepy talent that I do. So everything just kind of snowballed, but it all started for me growing up in a haunted house.
Oh, wow. Like
Yeah.
that's one thing you don't expect is when somebody says my house is on Hometown Horrors.
Yeah.
It was legit, man. I was terrified of this stuff for the longest time. And whenever I started getting out and kind of researching and I've been to every major location in the country just about and investigated. And it's I've been very fortunate to travel and investigate with some of the best out there. And things just weren't as they were as I remember as a kid. Does that make
Right.
sense? And so
Right.
I kind of became desensitized to it and learned not to be so afraid of everything. And I've seen and experienced things that I can't explain. So I know this
yeah.
stuff's real. I know that it's real. But it's just, I think I have a greater understanding of it now than I did when I was a child, to kind of put everything into perspective for me.
For sure, for sure. Definitely when you're a kid and it's new, because I mean, if you don't have any experience with it, you don't know what you're seeing and what's going on. How old were you when you started experiencing all this?
From the time I can start remembering even, and the very
wow.
last night in the house, I saw my brother. We shared a room, and it was a huge house. I mean, it was just old, built on the Civil War, where the Civil War was held here in Kentucky,
Oh,
the
that's
largest battle. Yeah, and so, but my very last night in that house. I saw my brother get thrown up against the wall and the door slammed and my parents couldn't get in. I'm just sitting in a corner screaming. I was a little kid. I was maybe 10, but I was watching him being pinned up against the wall and something was just attacking him. And
that's
yeah, it was a messed up place, man. It was a violent home. And I think at this point in my life, though, I think that my brother suffers from a lot of mental issues now, and so I kind of think maybe he was one of the triggers for that, if that makes sense. Kind of like a
yeah.
young
That
girl
makes
going through puberty and kind of triggering different kind of issues. But I think maybe he personally had some stuff to do with the intents of the hauntings.
That makes a
Okay.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is terrifying,
It
especially to
was.
see that and then you can't do anything. I mean, how old was
No, and
he
it
at this
was like I was screaming for my parents, and this was that, like I said, the very last night we spent in the house before my parents sold it, and they came running because I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, and the door had slammed shut, and they couldn't open the door. And when
Oh.
they finally got the door opened, he slid down the wall, and they were like, what is going on? And I was trying to tell him that he had no recollection of the whole entire.
Oh, wow. He blacked out?
Experience. So he still doesn't. He was like, you say that, but I don't remember it. I was
Oh
like,
my
I
goodness.
remember I was watching. So that's why I think,
Maybe that's a
kind
good
of,
thing,
Yeah, that
yeah,
is
definitely.
Like they say a lot of times when you experience trauma that you can repress memory. So I think a lot
Right.
of people may have paranormal experiences that are so terrifying when they're young, maybe they start to repress them when they get older.
I agree. Yeah.
Wow. And do you feel that where you lived had something to do with it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that, where we were was in Perryville, Kentucky, and it was the bloodiest battle of, kind of condensed, not compared to like Gettysburg or something like that, but it was definitely the bloodiest battle in the state of Kentucky, and it's what decided the state. And it ran through. We had a huge farm, and it ran like our farm surrounded the battlefield. And so
Oh,
we
that's
would see
wow.
entities that we kind of, as children, me and my brother and my sister would call the gray people. And
We just had something just
see,
You can't tell a ghost story and then that happened. I'm freaking out.
I bring it out. I bring it out everywhere.
and now
Oh
it's
my
happening.
God.
Now the plant attacked us.
Oh my God. When we had Brian and Rochelle, they saw in the middle of the podcast, Brian saw a shadow or something in their balcony and he got up in the middle of the podcast to check it out.
People are gonna think we set that up. That was not
No.
set up,
Oh my
people.
God.
That was not, and it's not the first time it's happened. I am not gonna claim
Woo.
paranormal on that, but that would be an odd coincidence that you're like the gray people and the plant.
I
just
don't think
attacked
it's a coincidence. This house
Oh
is this,
dear
this
Lord,
place
my
is
heart's
very
racing now.
this place is very alive.
Oh,
I don't
I'm
need
in my
caffeine. I
basement,
need
and
tequila.
I've collected haunted objects since before it was popular. And so I'm in my
Oh my
basement
goodness.
now,
So they're
and I
transporting
have
over.
so much stuff down here. Like it's pretty funny. Like I have a whole museum down here in my basement. So it's gonna
She
get
has
you. It's
PTSD now. Look,
I don't
she
want to
has
be between the
PTSD. She's
two
like,
ferns here, like between the two
ferns.
ferns. No, we're not doing that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the same for us too, as we got more acclimated to it, but we still get scared with stuff from time to time. Like I think you learn to get used to some of the experiences, but things can still throw you for a
But
loop
it,
like
it
that.
Oh,
literally fell
absolutely.
on my back. Like it touched me.
I
Like it
tried to
didn't just
tell you I was
fall.
pointing at it whenever it started to fall.
You did.
Yeah, I was
You
like,
saw it slowly.
You saw the
You didn't say
disaster.
anything. Use your words.
That's what she tells me. I always go, ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
And she goes, use your words.
Every time she sees an apparition, she's like, ooh, and I'm like, explain it. Use your words.
that's
Because I'm
funny.
frozen. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
It
I
seems
mean,
like
because
the
your mind can't comprehend it. It's
Oh,
like,
exactly.
Okay.
yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like I've seen things that, I mean, it's just unbelievable, and but my mind can't comprehend what I'm seeing, and so I'm kind of like I'm not scared anymore. It's just one of those things where you're like, what the was that? And it's
Right. It's like
kind of a weird, yeah, kind of a
She's so
weird
traumatized.
sensation. But you're
Yes,
alive.
for
You
sure.
survived the tree attack.
Yes,
do.
you survived the tree. If that's the worst
It
they
better
do.
not happening because then I'll know for sure they're doing it on purpose.
She could be walking off the podcast.
So,
Is there something that has
he was
terrified you?
talking about the gray people.
Oh, the
When
gray
that
people.
happened.
Yes, we should
So-
go back to
Yeah.
the gray people.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so we would call these spirits that we were seeing, these people, basically the gray people. They had a grayish tone to their skin, but it was like they were wearing burlap, and so it was very, very,
Whoa.
very close to like what you would see a Confederate soldier wearing. Kind of the
Oh,
grayish
that
tinted.
makes sense.
And
sense.
so, we would see stuff like that, and that all kind of made sense to us back then because there was 76 people who were dead, wounded, or missing in a matter of 3 or 4 hours, and that was right on our property. And so, there was a lot of trauma there, open mass graves where they were burying people that weren't all the way even dead. And so
Oh,
it
now
was
that's
all around.
yeah, it was a very traumatic area for sure.
So definitely you feel
Wow.
like that plays a role in that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So y'all moved out right away though. Didn't you say y'all already scheduled to move out?
Yeah, it was. We had already moved everything out, and like the only thing that was in our room at the time that story happened was a couple of mattresses on the floor. It was just like I said, our last night in the home, and so, I mean, it was 9, 10 o'clock at night, and and honestly, I was afraid of the dark, and so I saw this happening because I had a nightlight in the room. And so I could see what was actually going on, and it wasn't just like a figment of my imagination. I was witnessing all this stuff. And after we left the home, nothing really happened anymore. And I've tried contacting, even on the TV show, the Hometown Horror Show, production went and was trying to get the homeowners to let us, to talk to us or do anything, and they refused to do anything. Like they wouldn't
Wow.
talk to us about it. They wouldn't say if they've had any experiences.
Whoa.
But
They
it
wouldn't
didn't
let
go
them
with
video
y'all,
the
though. It's-
home or anything like that.
Stayed there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Maybe they were trying to say their farewell. That was a kind of crazy farewell that they
I,
did.
I,
Right?
if somebody acts that way, I think that they've had experiences, they just don't want to talk about it.
That
You
could
know what I
be the
mean?
same thing
So,
with
They're
trauma.
they're
right.
scared to talk
So they're
about
probably like,
anything.
people are going to think I'm crazy if I'm having these experiences in my home.
They're not
So I
gonna
don't
want
want
to
to put
admit.
it out, to the public. So that's kind of what
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. If there was nothing there, then they would have been like, no, there's nothing going on here, but they wouldn't even respond to us.
Oh,
So,
Wow.
see, then
and
that's
the
a
Yeah.
sign right
producers,
there.
yeah, the producers were knocking on the front door and everything, and they wouldn't even talk to us.
Yeah.
Wow. I think sometimes, from what I've experienced and talked to other people, is that when they experience traumatic things in their home, they feel like that if it calms down for a while and they talk about it, that it
Mm-hmm.
stirs it back up.
Kind of
Do you feel
trigger
like
stuff
maybe
back
the same
up. Yeah.
thing? Yeah. So I think that's
Mhm.
kind of probably why hitting the wall
Yeah.
with some people with haunted locations. They don't want it stirred up, but they don't realize the spirits are already there.
Yeah.
So they probably have a story to tell. So, in your experience, when you've been filming and going along, what have you experienced so far that made you kind of take a step back and go, "Whoa!" Like, holy crap! Like maybe a little bit of a fear factor, but curious at the same time.
Like as far as like a single experience or like a
Yeah.
collective experiences. So, I've been doing this for a long time and I kind of got from, we were Shock Paranormal, Spirit Hunters of Central Kentucky, me and my wife and a few friends. And we kind of got clout in Central Kentucky area, and then it kind of grew to Kentucky. And so I started working with Ghost Adventures. And so Ghost Adventures, whenever they would come in and film in Kentucky, they would contact me and I would help them set up different locations in the area. And so I became really close with Nick Groff, and today he's one of my best friends. And
Oh,
so
I love it.
we do these tours, and so we were actually in Ashmore Estates. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Ashmore.
Heard of
It's in
Ashmore.
Ashmore, Illinois.
Yeah.
Hands down, one of the most haunted places I've ever been. And
Wow.
I've heard
like
that there's a lot
it
of
went
activity there.
from my life went from like investigating, trying to prove or disprove hauntings, to an entertainment perspective of trying to let people experience, or have experiences. And so in doing that, I get more enjoyment out of, like, if you've never had an experience in paranormal, I get more
Right.
enjoyment out of being able to give you an experience and watch you have that experience than I do, having an experience myself. And
Mhm.
so
I love
we were at
that.
Ashmore Estates, and Nick and I were on the fourth floor, and I had a group of people behind me, and I had a IR camera, and I tell Nick, I said, Nick, walk on down the hallway here, and he was like, down this hallway. I was
Good,
like,
good,
yeah.
good.
So I'm filming, and there's some ambient light coming in, through the windows because it's an
Right.
abandoned old building. So there's some ambient light, but I'm also watching him on my IR camera, very clear. And he walks past one of these doors. Well, then an entity shuffles out of the door into the hallway,
No.
and it's
Whoa.
it's
Oh,
it's humpbacked. Like, it was one of the creepiest
What?
things I've ever
oh,
seen in
that's
my
even
life.
creepier.
It was a humpback, and it was shuffling. It wasn't like walking. It was like scooting across the
Wow.
hallway.
Weird.
Oh, that's so
Well, I'm
creepy.
watching this thing with my eyes, and I look down, and I'm getting it on camera. And so I'm like, holy shit,
That's
I'm getting
really
this on camera.
yeah.
And I'm looking, I have the people behind me, and I'm like, are you all seeing this? And they're just tore all to pieces. These people are having this experience with me. And so this
Yeah.
entity comes out to the middle of the hallway, and it stops, and it turns, and it looks at Nick down the hallway, and it turns back around. And I've got all this on camera. I've got it all on video. And it turns
That
back around, and it walks back into the door that it came out of. And Nick has started back down the hallway at this point. And he makes fun of me because he said I cried over this. I didn't cry. I was just so intense. Like, my eyes started watering a little bit.
Because
And
you never seen anything like that.
no, I've never, exactly. And I didn't want to
Right.
blink. I didn't want to miss anything of it.
And he's so
But
used to it.
so he
Nick is
walks back down to, towards us in the hallway, and I said, Nick, go in that room over there, and that was where it came out of and went back into. So when he goes into that room, this thing remanifests in the hallway and follows him back in.
no.
And
Double.
again, I've got every bit of it on video, and he was
Man.
Where's
using
this
it for an
video?
upcoming episode of one of his new shows, and so it's never been
Oh.
released. And so,
Oh, so
but
see, we got to
so
stay
that's why
tuned for
people have
that.
Yeah.
not seen it. Yeah. But
Dang.
man,
Oh
it was
no.
legit. It was legit evidence, and the people behind me. I had two people leave after that happened because they were scared.
Oh
But
I
no.
get
and
Oh
so that
no.
was just an experience that I had that was
Wow.
over the top. I got to see this thing. I got to video this thing.
Amazing.
I had the group of
Mhm.
people experiencing it behind me. And, it
Wow.
was just, it
Wow.
was one of those, moments where you just, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those
Yeah,
things where
that's
it
rare.
just doesn't happen. So
I
that
mean,
was probably
how does
my
anyone
moment.
explain that? How does anyone explain
Well,
that when people go, "That's not real," like, they're
it's
all
about
there.
to be on video, so it's gonna be explained.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it was, and he made fun of me. He's like, Lee, why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm not crying. I was
Is it
focused and my
tears of
eyes were watering
joy?
a little bit.
Tears of
I probably
joy.
would be too, because 'cause I'd be like, "Oh my god,"
I
because you
would
don't
be
wanna
like,
blink. I mean,
it would just
Exactly.
be
That's
like
exactly
full
how
of
I felt. I was
emotion. You
like,
don't know
I'm
what to
not missing
do.
any of this, so I'm not blinking. So my eyes started
that
watering a little bit. Because
Oh
I'm supposed to
no.
be a big tough guy. I'm not supposed to be some little guy that's going to
Yeah,
cry
but
at a
it like
paranormal experience.
it's a ghost. Like, what do
right?
you
It's
do?
I mean, manifested not once, but twice.
Right.
Like, it
Yeah.
was
It
like, "Oh,
was,
here I am again."
and that was the same room too. Now you may have seen this one. It actually went viral in the UK. In that same room, I had a group of people, and Itzy knows I like to pick at Nick quite a bit. I'm like to aggravate him, so I like to aggravate everybody. But so Nick
Fun.
comes into this room, and we had a group of people in there, and there's like a tricycle, just for a trigger object, and
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
and I'm joking, with everybody. And I was like, all right, here in just a second, Nick's going to get on this tricycle and ride it around,
Oh,
and just
Oh,
kind of
man.
man.
having fun. Well, here comes this thing, starts pedaling, and it starts rolling on its own. And
No.
yeah, so I got all that on video. And this
Wow.
was in that same room that we have, that we saw that the entity come out of. And but I put that video out like on social media, and it got picked
Oh,
up in the UK and
man.
ended up going viral over there. So I thought that was kind of
Okay.
neat. But Ashmore Estates is definitely, if you guys ever have the opportunity to check it out, do it. And the
What,
owner's fantastic, Robin Terry. I mean, yeah, it's a great all around experience.
Wow.
Ashmore, what state is that in?
Illinois,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's
You would fly into Champaign, and it's like an hour, maybe an hour and a half away from Champaign.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't
So
know where
see,
that
this
is.
sounds
I
like
don't
we need to take
know.
I mean,
Like,
just
we
they're
need
capturing things like right there.
yeah.
Especially, it seems like they want to be seen then. Do you feel like that really
Yeah.
wants to
Man,
be known?
it's such a
Or
crazy
Maybe you're
place. I
the
mean,
trigger
it's so
object.
active. Like I've never been there and not had experiences.
I
wow.
think it's you,
Yeah,
actually. I
Maybe it's
think you're
you.
the trigger object. We
I
need
think
to
it's
take
me.
him
Yeah.
on our
That's right.
ghost hunts.
We'll have to take you. It's like, here, take us in there.
Take us in there so we can see some stuff.
Oh man. So that is really cool. I mean, to capture something on video, because I think, do you feel the transition now going from it used to be kind of kooky to go ghost hunting and telling
Mhm.
haunted history was a good way to share history. But now that it's switched over to media and with AI and different things, do you feel like people are believing more in the paranormal because they're seeing it more or less?
I believe that with AI, because I'm into the whole Bigfoot scene as well, all the cryptid stuff. I love all the
Right.
monsters and whatnot, and I have different theories for most of them. But I think that video evidence today is never going to be hard evidence because of the AI,
Right.
because of Photoshops, because
Mm.
we unless you're having that
Multiple
personal
people, right.
experience, you're not going to
Yeah.
be able to prove or disprove anything with video anymore. I mean, the AI is just ridiculous, and it's just
Sure.
generating more than we've ever fathomed. As far as what could be potential evidence. And
Mhm.
so I'm not a big fan of that because I think it's taking away a lot of the kind of the hardcore evidence that we could have gotten from the paranormal
Right.
research that we do. I'm still a big fan of EVPs. I love that. I love the direct communication. I don't think that you can kind of forge that. Um,
Exactly.
and so, I'm definitely into the EVP sessions and but just the personal experiences, I mean, because at
For
this
sure.
point, are we ever going to prove that it exists ever? If we've not by now. And so at this point,
Exactly.
it's just
Yeah.
like your personal experiences and allowing, like I mentioned
Mhm.
earlier, allowing other people to have their own personal experiences. It's a story that they'll tell for a lifetime. And I think that's
Absolutely.
a reward.
For sure. That's one thing that kind of like what you mentioned earlier, saying that you've experienced it. And now by having the media side of it, you get to share that experience with people. Cause that's kind of our hope is that people who may have not been interested in ghost hunting before, they may can relate to us or be like, I want to experience that too and go ghost hunting.
Right.
And they get to, open their minds a little more, if that makes
And
sense.
it's also great to do events. Some of my events I'll have 150 people. Some of my events I'll have 10 people,
Right.
and both of them work. I mean, I've had just as much activity with 150 people as I have 10, and because I also think whenever you have that kind of group of people, everybody has their own energy, and so everybody brings something different to that table. So, you could
True.
be in a location with 100 people, and who's to say that, like you mentioned earlier, as a person being a trigger object, maybe they have an entity or a spirit following them. So maybe that's part of the haunting that's going on at that time. Necessarily, it doesn't always have to be the location itself, but it could be somebody at the location.
Oh,
So
that's
I
true.
Yeah.
think whenever we get that large group of people, we try different experiments and stuff like that with those and with those large numbers, and we've got some good evidence with stuff like that.
Very nice. So you say you like the EVPs, like that's a tried and true. It's hard to dispel the EVPs. What's another
Right.
method you like that's solid?
So my one of the things I really really enjoy is like, and this was when it kind of stemmed from when I was investigating people's homes and businesses. So if 90% of the time, whenever you go into a home or a location and somebody's coming in and they want you to come in and kind of help make sure they're not crazy, I saw this, I
Yeah.
experienced it. They're not sitting in a circle in a dark room asking questions of who's there and whatnot. They're doing
Right.
laundry, they're doing dishes, they're watching TV, and then they'll see something, or something will touch them or whatnot. So I really enjoy investigating by not investigating, if that makes sense. Like
Oh.
doing an
Yeah.
everyday activity in a
Mhm.
like sitting at a couch and just having a simple conversation, not asking, if somebody's there, can you connect with me, or can you, come speak into this recorder, or can you move this light, can you do this? Like, hey, did you see the game last night? And just having a
Right.
conversation and waiting for the atmosphere to do the work instead of you actually doing the work. Because those people aren't, they're not having these experiences whenever they're trying to ghost hunt. They're having them
Exactly.
Yeah.
living their everyday lives, and
Right.
so I really like that logic while
I do too.
investigating,
Yeah.
to kind of trigger more activity. To be honest with you.
That makes a lot of sense. I've heard that from so many people
Yeah,
that
we've
say
heard
just
that for so many people.
just being yourself, doing
Mhm.
normal
Yeah.
Yeah.
activities. Just like we were just sitting here doing a normal podcast and a tree attacked Issa. So
Was it just a tree
was it a
though?
tree? She's arbor friendly. I've heard that too, that a lot of people go to a location and almost try to recreate things that would have been normal, such as like in a jail location, playing cards or,
Mhm.
Right.
things like that to put themselves in what would be a daily activity
Hmm.
here. Do you feel the
Yep.
same?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Just when I'm talking about, what I was like the logic that I was having, that's going into someone's home. Whenever you're doing that, like actually investigating a person's property, but going into the larger locations like, um, the Missouri State Penitentiary or Alcatraz, or gosh, I've been all over, but to the big prisons like what you're mentioning, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Um, Using those kind of trigger objects or theories, I guess, would be easiest way to say it. It does work, it does, because it kind of brings
Yeah.
back those memories that they would be having in those cells, or Penhurst Asylum up in Pennsylvania it's one of the most
Ooh.
haunted places I've ever been, and they're doing a great paracon up there, Matt and the guys and Bob, and
Nice.
yeah, it's such an amazing event that they host. But if you get the opportunity to go visit Penhurst, take that
Amazing.
I
opportunity to
need to
do it.
go.
I
I
mean,
was gonna go
yeah.
last year. I even got tickets for it and everything, and then I ended up canceling it. So there goes my tickets. But
Aw.
but I ended up
Yeah.
going to Tombstone though. But yeah, I still want to go to Penhurst one day. And
It's
that and
worth going, because man, as soon as you step on the property there's this feeling that overcomes you, and you're like, man,
Really?
this place is brutal. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a little snippet of it's like a 4-part series that was done on their local news. It's called "Suffer the Little Children." It's
oh,
on YouTube, but it kind of shows how bad Penhurst was back right before it got closed. And you got to think it was closed back down in what, the 80s, I believe. So it's not that long ago.
it is.
And it's within our spectrum of remembrance. And
Mhm.
it was, man, it was brutal. So yeah, just go to YouTube and search
Terrible.
"Suffer the Little Children," and man, it will put Penhurst in a different perspective for you. It's
It sounds
brutal.
familiar. I think I've
Yeah,
heard of it. I think it was on my list to watch when I was
Mhm.
investigating. Like we like to do a lot of preliminary looking into places, what's got really good history, where are we likely to have a good experience, stuff
yeah.
like that. It's good to uncover these things. Has there ever been anything you've uncovered during your investigations that maybe somebody didn't know?
Um, yeah, there was once. I feel like, and I know this sounds really funny, but I mean, I have witnesses. But Dustin Pari from Ghost Hunters, Ghost Hunter International, he's a fantastic guy. He's one of my best friends.
Oh, he's
He
so
and I were at the Malvern Manor in Iowa, and it's owned by
cool.
Josh is the owner, and he's a fantastic guy. Um, but we started getting these different um, stories, I guess, through EVP, and we discovered what we think was an actual love triangle between a nurse and two of the
Ooh.
I know it sounds silly, all right, but
Work
like
love
there were
drama.
two patients and a nurse, and it ended up getting involved with each other, and
Mhm.
like it shook Dustin. I mean, he was tore up over it. He
Oh,
was like,
wow.
I don't understand how we're getting these kind of responses, and but it was pretty cool, yeah. And, it was one of those things where I mean. It was all leading up and it was all falling in part, or
Yeah.
falling in place rather. Um, but it was, I don't know, it was kind of weird. It was one of those things where we were getting information that nobody else had received. And so I think
Wow.
that kind of,
Nice.
set that apart. But it was a pretty, I mean, it got very graphic,
Love
to be honest with
I
you.
triangle.
Yeah.
know.
Because
Man.
two of the people in the love triangle were guys. And so it was,
Oh,
yeah.
plot
And
twist.
they were patients, and there's a
Wait,
nurse
Wait,
involved, and
sometimes people love each other. Sometimes no, we're not
wait. Okay.
it's two guys and a girl.
Right.
Lots of love. Lots of
lots of
love
love.
going
Yeah,
around. Sometimes people have a lot more love to give, so they need to have
Two.
more.
I would be like
They
closing my
want.
ears, like I need to be out of this. It's still happening. The drama's still going.
or if I'm ever around you guys and Dustin's around, I'll have him tell the story as well. That way, it will kind of,
Ooh.
Even
yeah,
better. Even
yeah,
better.
it'd be because it was kind of like messing with him. It was pretty funny, but I
Oh,
shouldn't say
that's
That was
funny,
this
but
was
it was very
was this
intense.
film? Was
Huh?
it filmed? Was
It
it
was not
filmed?
filmed. No, it was not filmed.
oh,
Yeah, it was for
dang.
one of our events, and we were at the Villisca Axe
Mhm.
Murder House one night, and then we did Malvern Manor the second night. And
Okay.
Wow.
Villisca is definitely a creepy place for sure. So
Yeah. Liska Axe Murder House. I
Could you
definitely want to
imagine doing
go.
the telenovela version of like ghost soap operas?
There should be a show.
Yeah.
Someone copyright that.
should
Right,
be.
there we go. Copyright, patent pending.
What would it be called? Two ghosts, one girl.
Oh, no,
no, three
no.
ghosts.
They're all three ghosts. He said
Wait
they're
a
all
minute.
three.
Hold on.
Did you just say two ghosts in one cup?
Yeah, no,
No,
God. She said two
Is that
ghosts.
what you
one
heard?
girl.
Because that's not what I said.
Oh, okay.
We're about to step into the hot two here.
And Ghost Hunting Beauties After Dark commences. I said two.
What did I say? Two ghosts, one girl.
You said two ghosts,
swear
one
that's
girl.
what you
And I was like,
said.
no,
You said cup. I said girl.
it's technically three ghosts, Issa. Three ghosts
There's no cup. I think I
No
was
cup
drinking the
is
cup when you saw
involved
when you heard
that
that.
I know about. Dustin will tell us if there's a cup involved. I might walk away at that point because I've never seen that video and never
Don't,
will.
like you don't have to see it. You just envision.
You've seen it? No.
No.
Don't see that video.
I'm not saying.
And
anything.
back to the paranormal.
Okay, so we took a small break.
And a small break, commercial break here, and it's sponsored by Ghost Hunting Beauties Cup.
So the first time I met you was at Seguin, Texas for the Nick Roth tour. I always, for some reason, thought that was the first location that y'all ever did for the Nick Roth tour, but I don't think it was it? Because it was
No, the
2000.
first one we ever did was Mackey's.
What year was that?
Oh gosh, man, it's been at least, gosh, I don't even know.
Seguin was 2000.
It's been probably close to 8 or 10 years.
Maybe the year before Seguin or the same year. Because it was
Probably.
the first one, so it's probably
Yeah,
like
it was.
right.
I know it was our first because Ghost Adventures had filmed there not long before we went there, and that's how Nick
Are you
kind of
talking
knew
about
the owners
Seguin
and
or
stuff.
Bobby
Huh?
Mackey's. Seguin or Bobby
Yeah,
Mackey's?
Seguin. The
Seguin. Yeah.
What was it? Magnolia Hotel.
Magnolia Hotel. Yeah.
And then there was the Park Theater, I think. Do you remember when the door slammed on us in that place? It scared the crap out of
Yes.
everybody.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
not
What?
recording.
Okay, now
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
were
hear this story. I got to hear
so
this
these
story.
events are awesome because they're like 12 hours long. And so we get there like at noon, and then there's like seminars, and there's question and answer speaker type panel stuff going on, and then you take pictures and you get to talk to everybody, and you and other people were like the organizers of it, the crew. And so there's a lot going on and a lot to do, and we're all in one, and there was a theater. It was a
Yeah.
theater,
It
right?
was an old theater. Yeah.
Ooh, I like
So
theaters.
we're all just sitting around waiting for the next thing to happen, to the next, like, I don't know, event to happen. Not event, but activity.
There we
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Planned activity.
And the door, this really heavy door. I don't know, was it metal or was it
Yeah. It
wood?
was like a big security door.
Yeah, it
And
just
like
slammed
super
shut,
heavy. And
heavy,
Whoa.
super loud, where like it literally startled
like you could
everyone.
feel it when it slammed, and everybody
Yeah,
screamed because it was like, I mean, there was nothing going on whatsoever. There was
yeah,
no
there was
breathing.
Really?
There
nobody
was nothing
behind the
nothing could have
doors,
made this thing
nothing.
shut.
I took a picture of it though, but I didn't get
But it was, yeah, it was crazy.
Now you know better. Video.
it was
Oh.
awesome. And then at night when we did the investigation, me and my friend Kat, shout out to Kat, we were in that same was it the auditorium where we were? I don't know if it was. Okay.
He's looking at me. It's like, I don't
No,
know. I
wait.
wasn't there.
Well, anyway.
You're breaking up on me just a little bit.
Yeah, I know you were breaking up too. You were like still.
It's
So I was
because
like,
you're
I don't know if I should
conjuring
talk.
something. You're conjuring spirits and they're starting to interfere. Don't think it wouldn't
So
happen.
we used a program that she had on her laptop that was like the Connect. It's like the SLS now,
Mhm.
but it was like before the
Yeah.
SLS. And we caught so many like stick figures, just like you could see them forming. They were short, they were like kind of big. It was just like, and it was at that same spot where the door slammed. And we're like, I don't know if I ever sent you
Uh,
that video. I know I sent it to
Wow.
Jeff. I don't know
I'm
if
not
you
sure I
did
saw
view
it.
it,
Yeah.
but it was really awesome because I remember Jeff asking like, "Hey, how did y'all do that?" And I'm like,
Huh.
"It was a software that my friend had. Like, I had never seen it before, but now there's like SLS everywhere, and I just got one myself."
Now she
So
has one.
now
Now
I
she is
have
the
one.
Real
proud owner
fun.
of an
And
SLS.
after that, we went to it was that and the Magnolia Hotel. And the Magnolia Hotel, that was pretty awesome too.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't there? Because I remember
Yeah.
it wasn't the. If I'm remembering correctly, like one of the little girls who was supposed to
Yeah,
haunt
you were
that
gonna
had your
say that.
had your
So there's a
name.
little girl named Itzy there, and Itzy's like my nickname.
Oh.
So I was like, I have to go to the room where Itzy's at. And Nick was like, wait,
I
your
think I
name's
put
Itzy too?
I think I put you in there. I was like, go in there by yourself.
You told Nick, take her in there. And Nick was like, come on, Itzy, let's go meet the other Itzy. I was like, oh my God. And he like
Meet Itzy.
y'all put me in the room by myself in there. And I was just like, hi, Itzy. I'm like,
She's
what do I
like, all
do?
right, something happened.
Nothing
Oh.
happened though. But that was fun. That was really fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a
yeah.
good
So
event.
That's awesome.
that was the first event. And then there was so many events that y'all did, but I did end up going to the Queen Mary one in 2017, I believe. And that was amazing because the Queen Mary, I think was built like 10 years after the Titanic. I'm not
Mhm.
exactly sure, but you just walking up to it, you're like, oh my God, is
Yeah,
this the
it's
Titanic?
overwhelming.
Really?
You
Yeah,
feel like you're in the Titanic era. It's just like amazing.
I stayed.
And very nostalgic.
I stayed in the B340 room, and
What?
Yeah, we
it
went to
was
investigate
creepy.
that
Yeah, it was
one.
creepy. But I think the
Really
creepiest
nice.
thing about it was so many people want to come be at that room, so people were outside your door all night,
Oh, man.
and so we were having to run people off constantly. But
Was that
I
the
was
first? Was it the
this
first event or the second
the
event that
second
was
one,
there?
yeah. The first one I
What?
had, she scared the crap out of me there.
Oh.
Oh,
Amy Allen, like she was in there and
oh,
she lost it in there. She was like, "This place is evil. I don't want to be in here."
Oh,
And so she
no.
had to end up walking out, and so I'm standing in there by myself after she just said there's all this stuff in there, and I'm like, "Man, I don't wanna be in here by
yeah.
myself."
I went in the room
Right.
with her as well. We did like a group thing. I don't think you
Mhm.
were in our group,
Wait,
but
this sounds like his thing earlier. A group thing? What kind of paranormal event is this?
we were all in groups. We
Oh, you
we
were
were
in
not
groups.
in a
Okay.
same group, but we did go in a group. And Amy Allen was there, but I mean, she didn't freak out at this one, so it might have been like a different group, I guess.
Yeah.
But But I don't think you could stay in the hotel in that
No, it
hotel
wasn't
room.
at that
Yeah.
time. At that
It
time, it
wasn't
wasn't open.
it wasn't renovated. Okay. It
No.
was the
Yeah.
second time that I went when it was 2019,
hmm
19 or 18. No,
That's
2018.
that's the year I was staying in it, and I
Yeah, and it
rented the
was
room
renovated.
for the
Mhm.
investigations, but I just ended up staying in it because I wanted to. It's kind of like staying in the Stephen King suite at the Stanley.
Right.
I'll rent those rooms out, and I'm like, shoot, I want to stay. I want to spend the night there. So I'll end up staying
Yeah.
Yeah.
in those special places. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you stayed there the night.
So did you
yeah,
have an experience there?
no, not a
Oh,
single one. Yeah, I've not had an experience at the Stanley. I mean, it's one of my favorite places on earth. I work with the city of
Wait, that's
Estes Park,
Stanley or
and
Stanley.
Oh, the Stanley.
yeah, the Stanley
Sorry.
Hotel.
Mhm.
I work with the city of Estes Park, and I set up one of their town festivals for them, or help them set up a town festival. And so I'm in Estes Park at least once a year, and I always have to stay
Oh,
at the
wow.
Stanley just because I love it. I mean, just the
Mhm.
history and it's very nostalgic to me for some reason.
Oh yeah, it's
But
beautiful.
yeah, if you've never been there, you need to make that trip as well. It's worth it.
That's on my
Well, it's on
list.
our bucket list.
Yeah.
We
On
might
my
ride on up there. I don't know how long of a drive that is.
I don't care. I'll go. I want to see it. I like road trips. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, we always wanted to go. I did hear at some point that they stopped doing ghost tours, but maybe that was a couple years
They're
ago.
still
I don't
doing the
know.
ghost tours, but they're not allowing ghost hunts. So that's kind of their
Well, what if they
kicker.
don't
Oh,
know?
Yeah,
right.
I swear I talk to them twice a year trying to get them to let me come back in there, and they're not
Oh,
interested.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I wonder
they're
yeah.
trying.
why.
They said they're
They
trying to go more towards horror instead of the paranormal. So like they're really focusing on The Shining,
but
and yeah, I mean
but in The
that's the
Shining
excuses
he
that I
saw
get.
ghosts.
I was like,
Exactly. Yeah,
that's
The Shining's
all
about ghosts. So
paranormal.
I want to see the Grady sisters. The Grady twins. No, the Grady sisters.
I
Never
got to
seen
meet
the
those
Grady.
guys in real life last
What?
year.
What?
Yeah,
Wait.
the Grady
Oh,
twins.
Oh, the actual.
Yeah.
I was like, did you see them?
The
Oh,
Grady
okay.
twins, yeah, they're like these
That's
sweet little old
cool.
ladies now. Yeah,
no, I didn't think.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, they're old ladies now.
yeah,
Well,
they're
yeah,
little old
they
ladies
were like
now.
5 years old back then.
Yeah, wait, when was that? When was that
It
movie?
was
It was in
like
the 70s,
80.
like 70. No, it was like
70s.
79,
Oh, you're
maybe.
right. Oh, you're born.
79. Oh man.
You're
So
born.
it's like stop. Just
Sorry.
giving away our age over here.
I know. Wow, yeah, 79. Holy crap. Oh,
It's
that
a
was a
good
long time
year.
ago. Yeah.
See, that's what's wrong with me is that my mom was watching horror movies when she's pregnant with me and she's terrified. So she
And I was watching horror movies when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So
see what was your first horror movie?
Um, probably probably Friday the 13th, like
Oh,
the original.
nice. That was like
Nice.
Yeah,
Good one.
yeah.
1985.
Was that
So that's
85?
probably where, yeah. If I did, like, I was probably too scared to watch them with my parents or with my dad. My dad loved them, and
Nice.
yeah, I was always kind of a little baby whenever it comes to stuff like that. But I remember
Mhm.
trying to be cooler, and I remember watching
Right.
Friday the 13th, and then I went and watched the first kind of horror movie that I watched in the theaters was Lost Boys, and
Okay.
so I'm a
Lost
big
Boys.
fan of that now.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw you get an autograph from
Yes,
what I forgot his name. But like, what
I'm
is his
looking
name?
at
The
it. I'm looking
saxophone
at it right
guy.
now. I have a
The
saxophone
saxophone
signed by Tim
guy.
He
Capello
was
from
at
Lost Boys.
He was at McParacon, and
I was
he
like, he
and
was
I
what?
I ran into him when he had it. Did you have a saxophone?
Yes, I'm
You,
looking at it right now.
yeah.
It's got his
Okay,
Okay, we
signature
gotta
on
see
it. And
this. Show us the
carrying around a
saxophone.
saxophone.
Show us
He's
the
like, I'm about to
saxophone.
get an autograph from him. I'm like, cool.
I can't get past the
Yeah,
hip
I
gyrating
kind of
thing.
fangirled over the sweaty muscle guy that wears the blue spandex or the purple spandex.
That one. He was there. He was. I
Did you
don't know
see the
why he was.
performance that he did?
Yes, I did. Were you
Man,
there?
it was badass. Yes,
It
Let me see it. No,
was.
I
yes.
didn't
It
see it. I
was.
saw
It was.
nothing.
It was there's gotta be videos. Oh, I took videos. Sorry, I should
You
send it
took
to you. I
videos
took
of the
video.
gyrating saxophone man.
I did.
What
was
is
like
happening at these
it
paranormal
was
things?
me and all the
It's like
girls that
now
was
I'm
there.
very intrigued to come to one of these. There's
You
hip
have to
gyrations.
come. There's so much happening. There's not
Hip
just ghosts.
gyrations.
Okay, there's just
It's like, see,
gyrations.
now that would haunt me.
Chippendales
And
show.
he's
You have
like
to come.
60. I think he's like 67 or 68 years old
Yeah,
too. Like,
Really?
yeah, and he's still
yeah.
jacked up. Yeah, I mean, he did
So
awesome
he's
in
still
performing.
Gyrating.
what?
Yeah.
But
It was
67
awesome.
now is so different than 67 back then. I
Oh,
mean, people are
absolutely.
looking good well into their
Yeah.
70s and 80s. I mean, no kidding. You're going,
Mhm.
really? That's why I can't
There
guess
was
people's ages anymore. I'm like,
there was
whatever.
something in the water in the 80s, so
Cocaine?
All that
that
cocaine. Yeah, that's what I was
somebody
gonna
said
say.
that. Somebody's actually said that before. Like, yeah, I
That's
guess.
the first thing I thought.
Okay.
Sorry, it's the 80s. That's the first thing I
Sorry.
think of is Beverly Hills Cop and then cocaine.
That's
Axel
why we
Foley.
look so good.
And then RoboCop, but
RoboCop. RoboCop 2 was filmed here in Houston. Did you know that?
no. I thought
Fun
it was
fact.
they lied to me. They said it was Detroit. I feel completely
Sorry.
lied to.
No.
You mean cinema lies?
Nobody ever filmed here, but RoboCop did.
So now you're into the media portion of it. You get to share your love of the paranormal with people. What are some of the celebrities that you've had the opportunity to ghost hunt alongside?
Yeah, tell us about that.
Oh man, everybody. I mean, I've been very fortunate. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the woods with some of the biggest cryptozoologist names out there. I've investigated with every para celebrity out there, you know, and it's just I've been very fortunate with that. It's hard to say just one or the other. You know, I would still like to go on a and he's a great guy, he's a good friend, but I would still like to go on an adventure with Josh Gates. You know, that would be kind
Oh,
of
Josh.
and
Yeah.
just because like and I recently started working with Josh, so you'll
Mhm.
be seeing him coming up to some events pretty soon.
Okay.
So
Are you
Fun.
representing him as well?
yeah, I'm working with him on some events, and so
Okay.
now if I could just get
Yeah.
him to take me on an excursion, so
That's awesome.
that would be kind of fun, I think.
So how did Creepy People Management start for you? Because I don't think you were running it when I met you, and all of a sudden I saw it, and I was like,
No,
whoa.
what the way that worked again, it was with Nick. So
Mhm.
you know, a lot of promoters out there knew that I was close with Nick, and they couldn't get in touch with him, and so they would come to me saying, "Hey, can you get Nick to do our event?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yeah." And you know, I was one of the people that ran Scarefest for many years, and so
Oh
I
yeah,
knew
I went to
how
that.
events worked on that side, and then I was
Mhm.
learning how to book people on the other side with Nick, and
Mhm.
so people started seeing me like you know set things up with Nick and whatnot, and so the guests were coming to me because I already knew everybody from
Mhm.
Scarefest days. They're like, "Hey,
Oh,
could you
cool.
book us for events?" And so I ended up, and at this point now, I work with everybody in the field. I mean, there's not one single person that I don't work with, except for
That's
Bagans and
Wow.
Aaron
awesome.
Goodwin. So I don't work with those guys. They just don't do events,
Yeah,
but
they
everybody
do.
else out there, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
that's
was again,
awesome.
it was a lot of hard work, but I was very fortunate, and very lucky. Um,
Mhm.
you know, with getting to know everybody through Scarefest back in the day. And
Yeah.
then everything just kind of
Totally.
snowballed and I
Yeah.
started
I saw.
understanding, you know, I already knew the backside of the events, you know, and what it takes to get
Mhm.
people there. And then learning, you know, what it takes to put people there was a whole different ball game. And
Do
so
you
now I've
Right.
been
work?
doing it for, gosh, 6 years now, I think 6 or 8 years. I've had
Oh,
creepy
okay.
talent. So,
Yeah.
That's
but
The
yeah,
list
we
keeps
cool.
work.
getting longer and longer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
and
were
it's, I mean, I'm the only,
co-founder.
like, I'm the only person out there that's kind of involved with it at this point. So I think there might be a
Wow.
couple of people that represent like one or two people, but as far as like, I mean,
Mhm.
Destiny or Project Fear, Adam and Amy, Cindy Kaza, you know, everybody, Nick,
Yeah, you
all the
represent
Ghost Hunters, Ghost Brothers. Um,
Ghost
I mean,
Brothers.
Oh,
literally
yes.
everybody that's of paranormal fame is, you know, is on my
Awesome.
client
And
list.
then
So
next on the list, Ghost Hunting Beauties.
I see.
Ghost
She's
Hunting
like,
Beauties.
what about us?
Maybe one day if we're lucky.
That's right. That's right. One day,
We'll
one
talk.
day. He didn't say no.
Yeah, he
Yeah, we'll
didn't say
talk.
no.
I love
Okay.
it. Yeah, I've heard the Ghost Brothers are a lot of fun. There was
Mhm.
They
Kathleen
are.
Maka. She's going to be at the Ghost Coast Festival coming up, and she said that she got a chance to go ghost hunting with them, and she had great stories about them. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I want to meet
I
they're
somebody.
entertaining
know.
guys. They're all good dudes. Juwan's a great guy. I mean, they're all super
Yeah.
intelligent and professional, but then they also know how to have a really good time and have fun and make investigating fun with their fans. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely want to meet them one day. Maybe go on a little ghost hunt with them.
Oh, I love it. That's why I said that there's just so many people. And that's one thing I've noticed about the entertainment portion of working in the paranormal field is it seems like different than like Hollywood big productions like Brad Pitt, all these people that you meet that put on these personas. Everyone in the paranormal world seems to be pretty authentic.
Mhm.
Like they are who they say they are when you meet them. And
Mhm.
that's something I haven't
right.
seen. a lot of places that
There's a
comparative
few
in that.
out there that I wouldn't get in. I wouldn't get into, kind of bad
Right.
mouthing. But there are a few out there that I won't work with that I've,
Right. I'm
Okay.
sure there's a
worked with in
few.
the past once or twice, and then I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
Oh, I don't
Um,
blame you.
yeah. So there's been a few people that I don't want somebody making me look bad, and and
Right.
just like I had some just a very simple story, but it was at Michigan Paracon, and I had a client there that refused to come out of their room.
What?
And I mean,
I
they
kind
would
of
not
heard a
come out of the
story.
room, and so they didn't get paid for their gig, and they said, nope, we're not coming out. We're staying in here. We're not going to do the gallery, or we're not going to do the presentation, and we're not going to go to our table. And I was
That's
like,
Wow.
terrible.
yeah.
Because there's
So
so
I was
many
like,
fans that like to interact with all the guests there, even after the event.
Yeah.
And I feel
right.
like if the celebrities should come out just to say hi, maybe.
I
And
agree.
If you don't
Yeah.
have fans,
And
you
most
don't have a
do. I
show.
mean, like most everybody is super cool and genuine, and but
yeah.
sometimes fans can be a little overbearing as well.
Yes, I've
And
seen it
so,
myself.
They
yeah,
probably
you
can.
have. I mean, and that's one thing. Like, I kind of stick around Nick because we've had some issues with people coming at Nick.
Oh
Mm.
no.
Yeah, and so I always kind of stick around to make sure that he's safe, and I will all my clients if I'm available to be
Yeah,
around them at
That's
an
awesome.
event, I'm going to be around. I mean, I kind of hover around and make sure everything's cool.
I mean,
Um,
you're like security as well, so
yeah, I mean, basically that's kind of I'm a big ugly dude and I can be
You're
what
not
is that?
intimidating.
ugly.
So
Stop.
You're a big guy, so people are just gonna be like, "Uh-oh, intimidated. Let's go." So it works.
So do you have a crazy fan story that you can share with us of somebody that just took it too far?
Well, yeah, the very first year. So when Ghost Adventures started, I reached out to these guys on MySpace. That's how old this was. That's how long
Oh
far we go
Ooh, the
back.
man.
MySpace days.
Top
So
10.
I found out that these guys were um, doing a documentary out in Las Vegas, and so I reached out to them
Ooh.
and I invited them to come to Scarefest that year. And so in the meantime, they finished their documentary and it gets picked up by Sci-Fi Channel, and then Sci-Fi Channel doesn't pick up the
Oh,
series.
that's when they did the Washoe or the Virginicity, right?
Right, the Goldfield and
Yeah,
the
Goldfield.
Washoe.
Sorry.
And
Mm-hmm.
so Sci-Fi didn't pick it up, and so it went to Travel. Well, then Travel, it just exploded, and this was like a month or two
Whoa.
before Scarefest. So that first year of Scarefest, we had somebody bought a golden ticket to the event, and they were basically saying they were going to kill Zach at the event. And so we
Oh,
had to
I did
get,
Oh,
hear about that.
yeah, we had to
that's
get major like federal security involved.
you're
And
kidding.
no, it was like this guy. We had pictures of him to see who he was, and there were
Oh my
police
God.
involved. But he
Wow.
he purchased a ticket and said he was going to kill him there at Scarefest.
That's
And
crazy.
but this guy apparently prior to that had stalked somebody else in the paranormal field
Oh
that I'm not at
no.
liberty to say. But he,
Yeah.
he apparently had some mental issues, and
Yeah.
it's just that's
Obviously.
There's a
unpredictable.
few of those.
Yeah, those people are just unpredictable that get fixated on
Mhm.
on people like that, and you just kind of be careful. But yeah, that totally happened at one of my events.
Oh my gosh. But they
Wow.
they took care of it though. They got him. They
Yeah,
put
he
him
never
away.
showed. He never
Oh,
come and
even
picked up
better.
his ticket. So yeah, he never showed at the event. So
Good.
Thank
yeah, and
God.
it was. We were very thankful for that because they almost had to cancel their appearance because, like I said, they had just gained their popularity. I mean, it had just started like a month prior,
What
and
year was that?
oh man, um,
2008?
gosh, I don't even remember.
Because I did go into the. Oh, I did. I went to Scarefest one year. I didn't meet you back then because that was my first time. It was in 2012. I went to Scarefest, and I
2012.
meet
So
and
I'd
I
have to think.
and I
Yeah, I was over at that point.
I met them
It was
there.
Jeff, myself, and Jennifer and Patty were the ones that were running it at the time.
Yeah, I got to
And
Okay.
meet
so,
Ghost Adventures, and then there was also a cast from True Blood and The Walking Dead.
Oh
There were
man.
so many celebrities and like shows there. I
Wait, who from
loved
True
it.
Blood was there?
it's still a good it's still a big show. They do a good job.
But you're
So
not involved with them any longer, right?
not even a little bit. No, no, we got
Okay.
out, and that's when I started up the tour and then CryptidCon because Nick had just left. He had just left Ghost Hunter or Ghost Adventures rather, and
2014. I don't know
yep.
why I remember years. I remember all
And
those.
I had just left Scarefest, and so he had
Okay.
a non-compete, so he couldn't film he couldn't release Paranormal Lockdown for a year after he left Ghost Hunter or Ghost Adventure. Shit, I don't know why I keep saying
Oh,
that. And so in
yeah.
that meantime, I was like, man, let's do this tour and get out. You can
Yeah.
hang out with your fans and do all that stuff. So that's how the
Yeah.
tour was born.
Okay, that's awesome.
You know, it
Yeah.
was during his hiatus between Paranormal Lockdown and Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
And then I
That
had
was
just left Scarefest. I hadn't started CryptidCon yet.
So speaking of that, so tell me about your events you have coming up. I think you have 2 in November and 1 in January coming up.
So yeah, the New Jersey Para-Unity Expo up in Woodbridge, New Jersey it's a great event. It's ran by John Ruggiero. He's a great guy. He does a really good job up there. But they're absolutely loaded with talent this year. I've got almost my entire client list is there. Yeah,
Really?
so check out their lineup. They've got a really good lineup this year.
Mhm.
But it's a very intimate show. It's not like the Michigan Paracon where everything's in a casino and whatnot. This is a very intimate, like it's in a high school, and so everybody's
Oh,
very
wow.
kind of very close knit and
That's
but it's a great
cool.
show. Yeah, so it's going to be a good
Awesome.
one. It's the weekend after Halloween, so Halloween's on Thursday, so I think it's that Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, like Dia de los Muertos
Yeah.
weekend.
Oh,
That's even
So
wow.
better.
that's the next big show coming up, and then
Cool.
my show, my CryptidCon, which is Bigfoot Monsters and Legends, is
Mhm.
coming up
Ooh.
November the 23rd and 24th in Lexington, Kentucky, and it's a little bit of everything. Like I've got a lot of my headliner is Giorgio Sukos from the Ancient Aliens show. You know, the guy with the
Oh,
wild
neat.
hair saying it's aliens.
Uh-huh.
But then
That,
I've got
what?
I love it.
so I've got him coming. Got
Cool.
the cast of Expedition Bigfoot, cast of Finding Bigfoot. I've got some of the cast from Skinwalker Ranch. I've got
Oh,
lots of
awesome.
just researchers. I've got, gosh, man, I've got Brian and Rochelle
Oh,
are coming from the reboot of Ghost Hunters.
Brian and Rochelle? Yeah, we
Yeah.
just had them on the podcast.
Yeah, they were just on
They're
our
Oh, yeah.
podcast.
they're
I
Yeah.
love those
awesome. We
guys.
love them.
Yeah, they're
Man.
awesome.
So send me all of those links too. We can post those links because we want to make sure
Okay.
everybody comes to see all these incredible events, especially if you want to get up close and personal, but not if you're a crazy stalker. Then you're off the list.
Let's
If
make
you
it
are
clear.
cool and you love the paranormal, you definitely want to check these out. Especially I like the intimate experience. So far,
Yeah,
everyone
the New
I've
Jersey
met.
Para-Unity Expo is very much so an intimate location, intimate experience, and you know, people are there. Everything's down to earth. There's not a lot of distraction. You're there for the fans, and it's a good show.
Very nice. That is so exciting. So,
Yeah.
what's next for you besides the conventions coming up? What else
Well,
is
in
going on?
January, we've rebooted the tour, the Groff Tour, and
Yeah, I'm
so we're going to
excited.
be.
I'm
Oh
waiting for
yeah,
the
because
date.
we were in Tombstone not long ago, and I just kind
Yeah.
of made friends with the Chamber of Commerce people, and so they've asked me to come back and do my own show there, do my own event there.
Cool.
So we're going to be
Yeah.
back in Tombstone in January for the Groff
I
Tour. We're going to
love
have Nick and
Tombstone.
Tessa, and yeah, it's really
Wow.
That's
cool, and we've got access to about 6 different locations to investigate, so that's going to be kind of cool.
nice.
We
Oh
need to
my
make it to
gosh.
Tombstone. I need to take you to Tombstone. That was
Yeah, she's
awesome.
wanting
She
to take
didn't
me to
get to go,
Tombstone.
but like
Oh
that was
man, it's such a cool place.
yeah.
I know. I've missed out on so much. We've just been so busy trying. We were getting ready to launch, season 2 of the Ghost Hunting Beauty show. So we were just like down to the very like last minute of going, oh God, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it? Because we usually a lot of these shows, I mean, how many people typically work on a show that you've seen?
Like behind the camera or
All of it.
yeah, gosh, man, there's so many sometimes. I mean, it depends. Like, you can get into some of the Bigfoot shows where different teams are going out everywhere, and you're looking at sometimes 20 to 25 people. And then paranormal, you know, you've seen it as little as 5 or 6, but also as large as 15 to 20, 25 people.
Oh yeah.
So
We've
it takes
got
a
my
lot for production for sure.
we've got my husband.
Basically,
You're
He's
doing a fine
literally
job,
sits
husband.
down. Right. So you hear it? You do a
he
great
does the job of like 20 people.
Yeah, that's what I said. And then does all the editing. So he doesn't sleep.
He's taking a nap right now.
I don't know what that's
Right.
like.
It's sleep. What is that?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that people don't realize how much because they look at it and they're like, "Oh, sure, you've had some help." It's like, no, it's it.
No.
I sit in the editing room with them because we have to go through evidence. I that's one of my favorite parts is the ghost hunting and looking through evidence, like just
Right.
going through and listening to EVPs, listening to the SB7 because we've got it to where you can record it in the headphones now. So in case they miss something or to make sure that they're hearing exactly the same thing that they're saying out loud. So we're kind of cross-checking and then listening in for ourselves, like we're slowing down the audio and then cranking it up, like all these
Yeah.
different things. People don't realize how much work goes into that. Like
No,
I'm
it's
hours,
right.
hours.
Evidence review can be brutal too, man. If there's nothing
Yeah.
going on, it's just it can be brutal.
Yeah.
Oh
That's why
yeah.
I like a lot
Right.
of the recorders that I use. I'm specifically the RRDR60. It's a Panasonic recorder. It's first gen, and I mean you can find them on eBay
Nice.
for $3,500. I mean they're super expensive, but they're just really old. And
Oh.
yeah, they're fantastic, but they're voice activated, so it only picks up what is when there's noises or voices coming through,
Oh,
and that
that's
cuts down on your time, yeah, a lot on recording or
for sure.
reviewing evidence of recording. So
People don't realize that every ghost hunt you go on something doesn't always happen. So especially
Right.
when it's
no,
3 in the morning and you've been filming for 48 hours without sleep. I can tell you how many times that I'm sitting there. I fell asleep on the
uh,
conclusion of a ghost hunt. And I thought that my husband was getting up and ready to leave. So I thought, oh, I guess I didn't get any sleep. And just as I'm dozing off, the pillow gets yanked out from under my head. And I turned, not that I'm a violent person, but I turned to almost swing at him because
You
I
chose
just got
violence
woke up. I
that
chose
day.
violence. And I went to go kind of swing. So I was like, what are you doing? And no one was there. And I said, time to go, time to go, time to go,
it's
time to
funny.
go.
Time to go.
But I don't get sleep on those. My girls get to sleep.
I sleep in the
sometimes.
car during between scenes, and then they wake me up, and then I'm
I
all
don't
here
get-
like trying to like
I don't get to
get back
sleep.
to. I'm trying to wake up, and then I start filming. So
Yep. And then she's like, yeah, but things can overcome you too and make you feel drained. I think
Oh,
you
absolutely.
sound like you're a trigger object, so
basically,
they probably drain you for sure.
every
Yeah,
time I
I've been there. It's. I mean, it will wipe you out. I mean,
yeah,
totally.
For sure.
depending on the place too and how much activity is there. But
Yeah.
I've been so drained that I'm like, oh,
Pinhurst has
this
that
is me.
feeling. Just because the
Oh,
Does it?
emotions there, man,
so big
the
there,
abuse that people went through at Pinhurst is just, man, it will drain you.
and
Whenever
then
you
there's
know the stories behind everything, it's just, I mean, it's
yeah,
awful. It's
I'm
terrible.
gonna have to look more into
that
that.
and
Yeah,
Waverly
you
Hills
got to
is
make it
another
there.
place.
Man,
And they have their
Yorktown's really
Pinhurst
cool.
Paracon is going to be in May. I think it's May
It's May.
17th of
Yeah,
next
it's the
year.
third weekend of May because
Yeah.
I was gonna go last time. I'm going this time. I don't know if you're going with me, but you better go.
Wait,
Yeah, it's worth it. It's
wait,
a
where are
good
you
time,
taking
man.
me
They have
now?
huge crowds. I think there was like over
Penhurst, we have
7,000
to
people there
go.
last year.
You're gonna be there, right?
I'll be
Because you
there,
weren't
yeah.
there last time,
My son was
right?
graduating high school, man. I couldn't
Yeah.
miss that. Yeah, so
Right.
had
Well,
to send.
that's
Congratulations.
yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you. Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Okay,
He's.
so now look,
I'm.
now I'm like, where are you dragging me to next, Issa?
We're going there. Put us on the list. Ghost hunting beauties in the house.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, we are so glad that you came on the show with us today. We hope that everybody is going to watch and subscribe and at least attend one of these events. I mean, he's got so much
Absolutely.
going on here. If you want to get up close and personal, get your tickets now. Like, is there still tickets left or are they already selling out?
No, they're not going to sell out. Yeah, we're everybody's wide open with those events. Well, the Nick Groff tour is going to sell out in Tombstone.
Yeah, those do
So
sell
that
out.
will sell out. But
Mhm.
the Cryptid Con and the New Jersey Para-Unity Expo will not sell out. I mean, they'll take as many gen ads as they can.
So we're going to have you come back and we'll talk more about the cryptid stuff because that's something I'm learning about.
Yeah.
It's new to me. I'm learning about that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But after some of the things we've seen, I think I've
Mhm.
officially seen my first cryptid, which would be like labeled, I guess people are talking about lizard people. And I thought, oh
Mhm.
my God, really? Like me, I'm a skeptic. I've seen things, but I approach it with healthy skepticism. But I saw something in Yorktown that had like, it would be, how do you describe it?
Was it that thing you saw behind me?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, I'm not looking. I'm not
She's like,
turning
"Don't-"
around.
She didn't want to turn
I
around.
was like, mm-mm.
Again, I couldn't use my words.
You described it though after you gained your composure, and you said it was like a face, a man's face, but it looked weird. Like
It looked like what a creature would do to imitate a human, and its eyes
Oh
were
wow.
kind of slitted, like
Really?
almost like reptilian. And I
Yeah.
would have never believed this, but the more, like you said, the more experiences you have,
Mhm.
the more open minded you are, because then
Mhm.
I can explain that.
Yeah.
and it was taller than MP Paranormal was with us. They were helping us film because we needed some help with
He's like
cameras.
6 something.
Yeah, he's over 6 feet tall, and it peeked its head at an angle around the corner. And
Jeez.
I go, whatever the hell is in Yorktown is not human. I was like, I
Mhm.
know
That
there's
sounds, I mean,
humans.
honestly, it sounds extraterrestrial, is what it sounds like.
See, just what I need. Another dang alien coming after me.
You got another alien coming up?
Girl, I'm telling you, I was just recently on a show with Dustin Shuda, and we talked about aliens, and I shared my alien story, and I don't tell that one too often because see, I'm kind of like what you said. I feel like people are gonna think I'm crazy, like
No,
this is
not at
not
all.
real. Or
You know what we do. We don't think anything's like,
No,
we believe
man,
in everything.
the possibilities
'Cause
are endless in the universe. I mean, they
Possibilities
really
are.
are. Because
They really
we're
are.
clueless as to what all is out there. I mean, there's just no way of telling. So,
Yeah, that's
even the government now is telling us, that
yeah.
extraterrestrials exist. So, I mean,
And we're like, we already knew.
yeah, we've been so desensitized by media and everything else, movies and
Yeah.
whatnot, that when they said, "Hey, we've got UFOs, aliens are real," and everybody's just kind of like, okay, yeah,
cool.
we thought so.
We're watching the Amber Heard trial. That's literally they were more interested in Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's
That's
drama.
why they
than
brought
they
it
were-
up.
They
Nobody
timed it.
cared.
They timed it. I'm
Nobody cared
telling
about
you.
the aliens.
But yes, I'm a lot more open-minded for cryptids and stuff now. My husband and I have argued the Bigfoot thing to death because I was like, no. And then I went to Lone Star Paracon
Mhm.
and there was someone there that was talking about Bigfoot and he
Mhm.
started showing me his evidence and I went, holy crap. I was like, you mean this is real?
Yeah, we need to go on a
Well, these
Bigfoot hunt.
you can see these casts behind me here. Those are all
Ooh.
famous casts from the Patterson Gimlin footage. So they
Wow.
left, I think it was 11 or 13 tracks, and I've got 5 of them that
That's
I've
cool.
collected.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've got a whole like mini museum of
You
Bigfoot
got you
casts
got a
and Yeti
museum in there.
casts, and so. But it's
Wow.
but yeah, these are all legitimate casts that were casted in Bluff Creek, California, for the Patterson Gimlin footage.
Cool.
Whoa, man.
So
I'm
yeah, if you want to
interested.
know anything about Bigfoot or cryptids, I'll be happy to talk that as well.
Yes, we're gonna have to have you come back, and then we're gonna talk
Yeah.
cryptids because that's something. Even though we're ghost hunting, it's like you never know. We might have a
We might-
bonus episode, and we go cryptid
We might
hunting.
find a Bigfoot while ghost hunting. We're gonna need more info.
Well, there's theory out there that Bigfoot is a ghost.
What?
I just heard that.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know where
have not heard that. Wait a minute. Wait a
I
minute.
just heard that.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Meaning that he was like a Neanderthal, or he was human or not human.
I would say more hominid, just a bipedal hominid. So it'd be like
Okay.
like a human, but not.
Mhm.
So
Right.
and that's the same theory with like Loch Ness. Is that a what is it, a plesiosaurus or a dinosaur,
Oh yeah,
a spirit of a dinosaur that people were seeing in Loch Ness?
Yeah, because it's like
Yeah.
nobody ever found it, but everybody saw
No,
it. So it's like
there's no DNA
like
proof. There's
40
no
or 50
eDNA.
years.
I think he died of loneliness. He was by himself. Like he had nobody to play
Poor
with.
lo-
And he popped his head out one time to go, "Hey, friend," and they're like, "Ah!" And then he's like, "Bye,
Poor
bye, friends."
Lucky.
That's
Aw.
what I said.
Nessie.
I
That's
said
the name.
Lockie. I
Lockie.
renamed you.
Lockie,
I meant
Lockie and Nessie.
That's my
Lockie
new. That's
Ness.
my name. Look, it's
It's
Nessie.
Lockie
Is it a
Ness.
she or a he?
We don't know.
Oh. Never
Just
mind.
like with Bigfoot, we don't know
Well,
male.
no, the
yeah.
Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot was a female.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's why
She
she's
was
called
telling
Patty.
herself,
Who runs the world?
girls.
She has breasts.
What?
Well,
Yeah, that's how you can
See,
tell.
so do we.
I'm serious.
we might just be the next Bigfoot.
No,
You
we
said
might
you-
be the next.
You said you wanted to dress up as Bigfoot?
I did.
Hmm.
I wanted to put a blonde wig and put one of the Bigfoot outfits on and roam my neighborhood and just not in Halloween, just
in the
randomly.
night? You're gonna get shot. You're in Texas.
Yeah,
Daytime,
that's
duh.
probably not
but
the best idea. Yeah.
No,
Right.
not here.
I'm random. But that is really cool. I love that you have such a broad spectrum of knowledge of ghosts and paranormal and cryptids and everything. So I mean, you are the guy to go to. So we're eventually gonna have to do a part 2 and come back
part
for
2.
for cryptids and aliens.
Yeah, there's
and more.
so much to talk about still.
So much to cover because we're branching out into some of that too. So
Yeah, it's
but
all
we
interesting.
appreciate-
Anything unknown is interesting. It's human nature.
For sure.
Yeah, we appreciate all the paranormal things, and people don't realize paranormal is not just ghosts. Paranormal involves things that are
It's
outside of the
the
normal, which is
Absolutely.
unknown.
cryptids, aliens, all these other things.
Everything.
That's
Mhm.
right. So, with all your years of experience and your knowledge, we appreciate you sharing that with us, sharing all these
Thanks for
upcoming
having
events.
me. Yeah,
We're going to
anytime.
have to see you in person sometime soon. Sometime soon.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we definitely.
Let's
Tombstone.
make
You guys need
that.
to come to
Maybe
Tombstone.
maybe Tombstone. I do want to go to Tombstone. I'm gonna have to go by myself.
No, wait, when is it? When
It's
is
in
it?
January the 16th, I think.
I might can make that. We'll see.
all
Can
right.
I wear
You're
my
gonna
cowboy
see us.
hats and my
Yeah,
boots? And
I
can.
did the whole weekend. Everybody was like, "There's Ghost Hunting Beauty!" Like they're yelling it out across the room because they already knew me. So
Nice.
then you get to come, and then it's like, oh,
So
it's
then they
the
add an S
pair.
at the end of it. Then they're like, there's more than one.
Yes, I'm gonna hold her to that. She's
All
going.
right.
Okay, write it down. I need to make
Put
that
her on
happen.
the list.
We need to film somewhere out there. It'd be epic. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your time with us today. And
No
for
problem.
everybody watching, be sure to look for the links to the tickets to these events because, like I said, the Nick Groff one's going to sell out. The others, you've got to show up. You've got to show up. At least open your mind to these experiences. And for anybody who wants to like, share, and subscribe, do that so you don't miss any of our episodes coming up. And we are here from Ghost Hunting Beauties saying have a spooky October.